All right, we're ready. Okay, all right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Global Innovators Talk Show. We are moving like a force. We're so excited tonight to be with you. I am Dr. Janet Lamar of Queen Esther Mega Networks right here in the great city of Macon, Middle Georgia. We are so excited to be with you on tonight. We would right now, if you would go tag and share and tell everybody, la-di-da-di, whoever is, tell them they do not want to miss tonight. This is going to be one of those talk shows that is a hot topic that's going around the globe. And so before I share all of our co-hosts as well as our other participants, we're going to have an opening prayer right now from Joanna.
All right, everybody, let us pray. We thank you, Lord, for this moment. We thank you for the communion of your people right now, God. We thank you for this woman of God, Apostle Lamar, and what she's birthing right now for your people, Lord Jesus. We ask you to be in the midst right now, God. We ask you to bring forth blessings to your people. And above anything, God, in everything we do, we want you to be glorified and magnified in everything. It is in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Joanna, who is also one of our co-hosts. But what I want to do again, before we actually just kick off, we're so excited about everyone. We also have something we've never done before. We have a virtual audience that's participating. So in case you see a lot of the boxes may be dark, it's because they're here for support. And we're so excited to have them. We have parents, we have some pastors. We just have a diversity of audience with us today. And so what we're going to do again, if you are joining in, this is your first time, second or third, please go ahead now, share, tag, make sure you put Global Innovators. Also put QENTV.org so you can make sure you subscribe to all of our social media platforms. We're so excited on tonight. This is the first of the first actually working with young adults. So I'm so very, very excited. And what I'm going to do is allow all of our co-hosts as well as our participants to actually tell you a little bit about themselves and who they are. We're going to start first with Victoria.
Hey everybody, I'm Victoria Pinkney. I'm 24 years old, and I want to give a shout out to my apostle, the world's greatest apostle, Dr. Brenda Howard, from Tabernacle of Prayer Christian Fellowship. And I also want to give a shout out to my pastor, Pastor Damika Pinkney, which is my mom. She's on tonight. And I'm just super excited for everything that's going to take place, all the conversations and the advice. So yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to hear from Messyah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Messyah Causey. I'm 23 years old. I attend Tabernacle of Prayer Christian Fellowship of Macon under the leadership of Apostle Brenda Howard and Pastor Ann Hall. I'm excited about what God is doing. I pray that you get what you need on tonight, all the wisdom that will be released on tonight. I just pray that God does what he needs to do. And I'm really excited for what God is doing.
Amen. Awesome. Awesome. All right, Miss Danielle.
Hello, everybody. I am Danielle, and I am 22 years old, and I'm a part of Tabernacle of Prayer Christian Fellowship. And give a shout out to my Apostle Brenda Howard, and my mom, Pastor Damika Pinkney. And I'm just excited to be a part. Thank you to my sister for inviting me on, and I look forward to see what God has in store for the people on tonight.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, we have Joanna.
How y'all doing? I'm Joanna, like she said. I'm 26, and I attend St. Galilee Baptist Church in Sparta, Georgia, under the leadership of Bishop W.J. McCullough. And I am excited about this conversation. I think it's very much needed, not talked about enough, and I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we have another one of our co-hosts. We have Aamiya.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aamiya, and I am 19 years old. I go to the Church of Kingship Apostolic Church under Apostle Robert E. Knight. Woo woo! I am so excited for tonight. This is something new that no one haven't done around in our county, so I am so excited to be doing it with you. And I want to thank Dr. Lamar, everything she has done for us, and the opportunity for the new group and the new vision she has. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Now we're going to hear from all of our panel participants as well. So We won't be hearing from those at a virtual audience. They are here again for support, but now we're going to make sure we hear from them as well. Make sure you give a shout out to your leaders. If you have a business or you want to talk about, this is the perfect opportunity to do that. All right, so we're going to have Aamiya. Did I get that right?
Hi, everyone. My name is Aamiya. I'm 20 years old. I am under Tabernacle of Prayer Christian Fellowship in Macon, Georgia, which my leaders are, shout out to Apostle Brenda Howard and Pastor Ann Hall. I'm so excited, and I'm definitely looking forward to this event on today. I also attend Georgia Southern. I'm president of the National Council of Negro Women. So if anybody's interested in being involved with any kind of Black women uplifting activities, I'm here for it. So I'm very excited for this event, and I'm looking forward to what we have in store for today.
Awesome. And make sure I get your information tonight. All right, we have Alex all the way from Savannah, Georgia.
Good afternoon. How y'all doing? My name is Alex Baptiste. I am 27 years old from Savannah, Georgia. I am a member of Kingdom Life Ministries underneath the leadership of Pastor Charles Robeson. I am a serial entrepreneur, have a business by the name of A Touch of Black, where I make t-shirts, and then I have a nonprofit by the name of An Unwanted Necessity. My dream and passion is to teach youth things that I wish somebody would have came and taught me. And I'm a motivational speaker, which Dr. Janet Lamar sowed that seed into me and was the first person to allow me to speak at the red carpet event. So thank you so much for having me here. And I'm very excited to see where God is going to take us.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we have with us Naisha.
Hey, my name is Naisha Knight. I'm under the Church of Kingdomship Apostolic Ministry. I'm just excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're about to get this ball rolling. Again, we're excited. If you're just joining in for the very first time, of course, some of you may be, we want you to go ahead right now, share, tag, call somebody, invite them to get on. This is one talk show they do not want to miss. We're going to be very transparent, radical, and whatever happens on tonight has been pre-written and preordained. So everybody has already introduced themselves. Let me share with you the topic, and then we're going to go forward. Also, let me just say this as well. We will allow opportunities to answer and respond to any questions that we may have inside of our streaming. We may not get to everything, but if you have questions once we're starting, please go ahead and put them in there. We'll make sure we can answer as many as we can. Right now, we're going to be talking about, the topic is, that's all you got. The big 3-letter word, S-E-X, sex, with an exclamation point. And so this topic right here is one, sex seems to be one of the hottest things right now within the age group, pretty much the young people and even, other age groups. But what I want to say is that one thing I realized is that the topic sex is really not talked about much per se as a roundtable discussion inside of, like, say, per church, because sometimes we are hard on our young people because we want to tell them, beat them upside the head and say what you shouldn't have done. But I also want to make sure that they understand that we also were young people. We were young people too. We dropped it like it was hot, from left, right. We had Tom and Sheila and Sam and Joe and all. So do I condone sex outside of marriage? No, I do not. But I also know that is happening. And so that means we have to address the issue and also be relevant with it, but also provide guidance and support and wisdom. And so just in case you're watching and you may be a young person or someone that has already had sex, and maybe now you realize that it has to be more than this. It has to be more than just between the sheets, as they would say. It has to be more than just, when you have an orgasm, I have one, and then you go your way and I go my way. You mean tell me that's all to it? Is this it right here? So I know I'm going to probably burn somebody on tonight. They're like, she's saying that. Oh yes, I'm saying it, because if we're talking about the topic, why I'm gonna hold back. I'm not going to hold back. And so this is going to be a blessing to not only our young people, but some of the older ones as well, because some of you still may be dropping, and you got to ask yourself, is this it? Is this all we're going to have? It's just between the sheets, between the covers. There's nothing else you have to offer. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow our young people to dive into this. Why? Because this is a topic that's very relevant. I'm going to call this part 1, and I already know it's going to be 2 additional parts because we're going to go deep into some things, and then this is going to be an opportunity when they actually are here at the studio. So again, I'm excited about tonight. I'm trying to give you a chance to go get you some water. I'm trying to give you an opportunity because it's about to be crunk up in here, all right? And so now I'm going to give our young people an opportunity to dive in there, to dive in and share some insight on something that maybe you have wanted to talk about for a long time, but you really have talked about it in secret. But now you have a platform that's been created, not by Lamar, but by the Lord himself, because he says now it's time for this generation to have a voice in our community. And I want to have a voice across the globe. I don't want to hold back anything, whatever topic it is, whatever needs to be discussed, whatever information needs to get out, we want to make sure we do it, but we're going to do it in the right way. And so now the floor is open. Who wants to take the floor right now? Mike's on you. Come on, Mike. Come on, let's work with this tonight.
Okay, so just to piggyback off of something you said, so when you're looking on like social media and everything, when people present like sex to you, it seems like such this magical thing, and it's supposed to be, it's the best thing or whatever, but it's really not like that. And a lot of people, well, especially kids, even younger than me now, they're experiencing that. And I know they might just be spinning because it's just not what it seems to be. So it's really a facade out there when it comes to like sex, because it's supposed to be like, oh, this best thing. But a lot of times, especially if you're younger, like you don't know at all what you're doing or what's going on. So I know when I was younger, it was just like, okay, but it's like, this is not it. Like, this is not it at all. So that's my take on it too. It's like a big facade out there on social media. And even when you're talking with friends and, you're amongst your friends, y'all all the same age, and nobody knows what you're talking about. Nobody know what they're talking about. So that's what I wanted to add.
And you're definitely right about social media, advertisement, TV, everywhere you go, the music is all around you. Sex, it paints the picture like it's all that. And of course it is when you're married, but when you're not married, the temptation pulls you because it's like, oh, I need to go try that, because it's like, oh my goodness. And so, yes, it paints that kind of picture to lure you in. But come on, I don't want to just be talking. I want all the other co-hosts and participants. I want you to dive in. Give me your thoughts, your feedback. If you want to touch on what Victoria said, or you have something that you just want to share yourself.
I was going to say, at a young age, I was introduced to sex because of TV, the music. Because at first I knew what's like to deal with sex. Because, if y'all know Adult Swim, y'all know sex can just introduce you to that. So I'm like, cool. So when I was in high school, I was just like, oh, it's more to it. I didn't know you had to deal with this. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with soul ties. And then social media, it do have a big part of you about sex. Because they'll be like, oh, what's your favorite position? I used to be in high school like, yeah, this is my favorite position, this and that. So now growing up and having a better relationship with God, I'm like, dang, I used to do all this. I used to look at my past and be embarrassed, like, girl, you did that. Dang, could not be me. So yeah, social media and TV and secular music do have a big part about that.
Big part.
I definitely say, just to piggyback off of what Aamiya was saying, for sure, it's so many avenues that is open to young people nowadays to get us involved in those type of things. But just like Victoria said, it ain't what everybody make it to seem. It's really, that is something very sacred. And when you open that door, you're opening that door to so many other aspects, so many other spiritual things that you're being connected to, because that is a covenant, and that is something that God designed for marriage. Outside of marriage, it is not of God. Outside of marriage, it does not turn out the way that you think it turns out. It actually opens you up for more spiritual attacks and more demons and things like that. And so it's really not what everybody seems to make it when you are not married. And so I say to anybody out there, if you have already been involved in those things, it ain't nothing to be embarrassed about. It happens. And if anybody making you feel bad about it, let them take that, let God deal with them, because at the end of the day, they were once at that age, they were once at that point, but it's nothing to be embarrassed about. You made the mistake, now move on from it. You made the mistake, now turn from that thing. It's you can come back from that. God can restore you from opening that door, and he can actually close that door so that when you are married, that you're healed and you're not dealing with all these other things because you did something outside of marriage. But I say to anybody, if anybody's pressuring you to, get involved in sex and to open that door, it's worth the wait, y'all. I promise you, it's worth the wait. It ain't what it's all hyped up to be on porn. It ain't what it's all hyped up to be on TV. All of that stuff that they show us, it's for their advertisement. It's so that you can be introduced to it, and they got to make it look good. But when it's not done right, it's not good for you. And so I encourage anybody, if you have slipped into that area and you have fell into that area, pick yourself back up. You can come back from it. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. If you did it, oh well, it happened. God forgives you. So.
Right. And then to also piggyback on what Messyah said, I feel as though a lot of young people nowadays are also influenced by their friends. Because I know me in high school growing up, my friends used to come and tell me about how they had a good time the night before. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it seems like, y'all are having a blast. Let me go see what this is about. But in reality, it really wasn't something that I should have been piquing any kind of interest into. One, for the simple fact, I'm looking at how everything is transpiring after the fact. Once the man has gotten what he needed to get out of you, you're done. It's like you got a rag, use it, and then that's it. And now you're left with all these emotions because you done gave this man a piece of yourself that's so vulnerable and open. And now he's taking advantage of you and you don't know what to do. So then that can either open a door for you to go get more bodies, trying to find that love that you need that you feel you need from a man, when you should truly be seeking it from God. But I also figured that was something that I dealt with growing up, just seeing that all my friends were having a good time partaking into these activities. And then when it was my turn to go, I'm like, so I just sat here and waited all this long time for nothing. This is all I got. This is it. That's it. Just a little action. No, that's not something that I felt was worth my time. So I was like, I definitely want to encourage everyone, even if you haven't taking it into account, took it into those things, I would strongly encourage you to applaud yourself. No matter how social media encourages you or tempts you or makes you fall into those temptations, it's something big to truly wait and save yourself for that right person, because you don't want to lose yourself into the next person, into the wrong person that wasn't sent from God. And now you're caught up not only with your emotions, but something that I was always told is when you invest yourself into another individual, especially when you have that level of intimacy, that person leaves a piece of themselves inside of you, not on that level, but on a spiritual level. So it doesn't matter who you get involved with following that situation, you will always have a memory of that person because that was the first person to have that special connection with you. So if, aside from everyone else, if that's what you've done, no judgment at all, because we've all been there. But for those who haven't partaken in it, I would strongly encourage you to just keep going. I know it's tempting. I know you're getting older. You're seeing everybody else is making it seem like they're having a good time. But one thing you also have to remember, when people hop on social media, everyone always posts the good. They never post the bad. So when everyone is presenting all this good stuff, always remember it's always something on the back end that they want to cover up to make it seem like their life is just going the perfect way when it's not. So that's just my take.
And before Joanna jump in, I just want to comment a couple of things right quick. Just to comment on something you stated about the deposits. Not only do they deposit themselves, but they deposit all their other partners. So now you're in emotionally wrecked because you're not just dealing with them, you're dealing with all their other partners. So, and I want to say this too, sex was made. Sex is good if you are married, but also sex may be good to people that's not married. So I want to make sure I clarify. I want people to know that God made sex for marriage. And that's why God said the bed is undefilable. And then you have a different perspective of sex versus a male and what they think versus a female. The male is a depositor and the woman is the recipient of what's being deposited. So that's why it's so easy for him to deposit and go to the next one. So I just want to make sure. So when we look at, why did he do this? He thinks differently than how we think. So I want to make sure we make that, kind of clarify that as well. And so we do have a male. We're going to get his perspective as well. But go ahead, Joanna, let's hear from you.
I was just gonna piggyback on what you said about the church. I
Okay.
think in that area, the church does a good job at condemning you and saying, don't do this, don't do that. But they don't take the time to tell you how not to do this and how not to do that. I think if we incorporated that part of the puzzle, young people wouldn't be so afraid. And I think less tendency of having premarital sex would be done if we were taught how to date, how to set those boundaries, just how to go about it. And kind of like what y'all said about the sleeping with people that's not your husband. When God made sex for marriage, he made it for pleasure. So like you said, you're gonna get that pleasure out of everybody. But the thing about it is, like Messyah said, when it's outside of God, it's just not going to be what you want it to be. And we're going to think and we're going to wonder, so-and-so is doing it, but they got married, this, that, and third, but so-and-so is also carrying. You don't know what they carry. So God doesn't tell us to do those things to not allow us to have fun. He tells us not to do those things because he knows how it'll affect our mind, our body, our heart. So that's the key there. It's just not about you're just supposed to do it in marriage. He does that for protection of us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And before we go to, I think, Alex or either Danielle, I do want to say this. I want to piggyback off what you said about the church. So this is the thing, sex is not one of those topics that you kind of like, expound on in church. And I wasn't taught either, like, to know the do's and don'ts, like what's your non-safe zone. So in other words, if you are with your male partner, your female partner, whatever, and it's, you just come from the movies and you're going his house or her house or vice versa, you got to know what you're getting ready to do. Okay, meaning it's easy to say that when I get there, okay, I'm not doing that, you're not doing that. But what happens sometimes in the heat of the moment, he kissing you on your neck, you kissing him on his neck, you all over. I mean, come on, really. So your body gonna be jumping, he'll jump. I'm just keeping it real. And so at that moment, when you in the heat of it, you can't say stop because you in the midst of it too. And you like, do I really want to do this? But I really, really want you. Do I really want to stop? I'm trying to keep it real. And so in the midst of that moment, it's hard. Now I'm saying it because you stated a fact. You say we don't tell you, we say don't do it, but we don't tell you what you should not do. So those are safeguards. Those are where you have to know yourself. You have to know, because I'm going to keep it real. If you're in the heat of the moment, he's rising up, your breasts, they getting hard and all this stuff. And before you know it, you went at it and you wasn't intend to do it. But at that moment, so that means if I know that I don't have self-control, which it really boils down to it, because the other person may not have self-control. Maybe you do. Maybe you can, kiss and whatever, but you got to know, can I handle that? Can I handle that? Is what's happening to me? Because at that moment, you're not thinking, your body is going off and everywhere. And so you have to be cautious of that. And so, of course, we didn't do a good job. When I say us as a whole, as a body, as a church, we did not. We just say, you don't messed up, sit down, get out of the choir, get out of the praise team. We just everything, dance ministry, we nail you to the cross. But then on the backside of it, they didn't realize that they didn't get nailed to the cross, or they did what they did. So it's like, okay, so now we're being judgmental. We're pretty much trying to say, you done messed up your whole life. And the reality, so what do you do now that if I fall, if I made a mistake, so what do I do? So you're definitely right. So I pray that, we have, leaders or different ones that's watching, that we would take this and make sure we understand that not only do we say don't do it when it comes to this age group, even younger than what we have, but tell me how do I guard myself? How do I protect myself? So show me. All right, come on, Alex. Let's hear from the male.
This conversation is so interesting. It's funny because just been getting into the word and the Bible and understanding the difference and actually knowing the knowledge versus, as Joanna was saying, growing up in church, my mama always told me, Alex, don't have sex until you get married. but she didn't tell me the importance of it. She didn't tell me really, you know, biblically, why not? It just was don't have sex. So me, tell y'all a little backstory. I got 4 kids. So I don't think nobody, you know, I know females were saying sex ain't, it's not, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real honest, man. Sex is dope. It feel good. Don't nobody love it more than me. But now that I'm saved and I'm different, like right now I'm going through something called semen retention, which I didn't know what it was. But now I'm in a place where God has convicted me and we've having conversations. And I'm like, you know what? I know my triggers. I know that right now I can't follow nobody shaking their butt. I can't follow no females that got little shorts. I can't, like, I know my triggers. So it's like, I know what I need to be around and don't need to be around. Now, the old Alex, man, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Every female who on this chat, the old Alex would have DM'd y'all and said, hey, let me get your Instagram. But the new Alex, I understand. I done seen everything that the old Alex been through. So now I understand what sex means. As y'all say, soul ties is for real. I understand how powerful my semen is. I understand that I open up certain portals when I have sex. So I didn't understand that before. All I think is, man, I'm having sex, I'm busting my nut, I'm going on about my business. But if you don't understand, how can you do differently if you don't understand? So now that I'm getting into the word, and understanding, even going as deep as reading the beginning of the word, understanding how God made Adam first, and understanding that dang, like the connection between God and Adam, it had nothing to do with saying like he didn't have that connection with Eve, but it was different with the man. So I'm just understanding the word differently now and trying to walk in that, not saying that I don't make mistakes, not saying I don't mess up, but when I didn't know these things, I didn't care to even do right. Because I didn't know that. I just think sex is just sex. And everybody else has sex. My mama has sex. My grandma has sex. So what's wrong with sex? And it's like, no, we don't understand sex. So I think that's the main thing.
Awesome. And I want to kind of reiterate on this too, because, you know, whenever I'm doing shows, whether it's on TV or social media, I get like these text messages from the RAM. So this is what I want to share too. When it comes to a female, it's easy for us to say it's not good. Why? Because we're not involved with that person anymore. So we're different from the male again. So it was good when we was dropping it, we were bouncing it. But when we separate, it's like, then we cry, we whatever. But at the moment, it was. I want y'all to be honest because, I want you to go there, tell the truth, because, and this is how it is. And so I come to realize I will always ask the question. I'll say, why is it that the man is always watching? Why did he, and was a leader told me, he says, you got to go back and look at the beginning of how God created man. They had multiple women. Solomon, 300 wives, 700 concubines. That means he had more sex 2 times a day if he really went with them. It's only 365 days in a year. And if you already got set 1,000, that means 2 to 3 times a day with just one, with different ones. So they were already made. God did that. That was God who did that. So they were already, and plus males are visual. Females are emotional. We're more, we hear, but with them, it's like their eyes, they see. And so I want us to make sure now that we understand is that being a Christian, we understand that, yes, at the time I did drop it when it was hot. I tangled and I did all of those different things, various partners. And then I realized that it depleted who I was. Once I woke up and came to my senses, understood it got to be more than this. So we're now, as mature adults, we can say that. But back then, we didn't say that because it's like, phone ring, which one? Black one, the red one, which one? And so that's what we did. And so again, God made sex for marriage. And God says everything he made was real good. He said it was good. And so he said that. And so again, as we mature in the things of God and we learn, now we're asking ourselves, it's like, okay, I'm gonna protect myself now. It's got to be more than that. It has to be more than just sex. What else is it beside this? But let me hear from Danielle. Come on, talk to us and tell us, give us your thoughts.
That's really good. I just want to add to any of the listeners to know that you are worth the wait. And the Lord, like, he considers us very valuable and very precious. And so you should consider that as valuable and precious as well. And it's sacred. And anything that is sacred, you don't allow any and everything access to it. So that's all I want to add.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, come on, you all jump in, share your insights.
I just want to add to what Alex said, because I think that is so good. And the question that came up was, so many times we see sex as a, it is good. And we all have those desires because we're human, and that's how God created us to be. So nothing wrong with having those desires. It's just you finding that discipline to say, God, I'm going to follow your word. And because I love you, then I am going to obey your commands. And if you told me to wait until I'm married, then I want to do that. And so the question that, I present to you is to ask yourself, what is the real reason of why you feel like you can't be disciplined enough to wait? Because a lot of times, like Nabiel said earlier, us wanting sex can come from so many areas. A lack of a father for a female, and I can only speak for a female. Not having a father in my life, and not really having that example of how worthy I really am. Yes, I know God called me worthy, but it's something about that tangible person being in your life to show you how worthy you really are. And when you don't have that tangible person in your life to show you how worthy you really are, then you go searching. And the first person that show you how much they love you, they give you everything you want, they showing you, how intimate they can be with you, they're showing you how much they care about you, you tend to fall for that, and you think that that's love. And so you think because they showed you that type of love that they deserve your body. And so many times, because of daddy issues, because of mama issues, if you did not have a good example in the household, and you had a parent, you get what I'm saying, that had a man sneaking through the back door, or every other week you seeing a different face, then that's what you think is okay. But it's not until you really ask yourself, God, what is the real reason I'm searching for this? Deep down, what is that root that's causing me to keep giving myself away, or to keep desiring this thing? Yes, I desire sex, but why do I feel like every person is worthy of my body? And when you ask yourself that question, God will reveal to you the reason why. And a lot of times it's because of lack of love. It's because you did not have that example. You did not have that person to tell you how worthy you are, to tell you how valuable you are. However, when you get to a certain point in your life, God holds you accountable. And so because you are accountable, it is up to you to get in the word of God to see what God says about you. It is up to you to get in the word of God and to say, okay, this is what God don't want me to do. And so because my father don't want me to do this, because my father loved me, then I'm going to keep his commandments, because this is what he tell me to do. And because he tell me how much he loved me, then if he's telling me to wait to have sex, then it got to be a reason why he's telling me to wait. But finding that reason to figure out why you desire that, or why you keep giving yourself away, if you are giving yourself away and you keep finding yourself in these terrible relationships where you getting what they want and now they out the door, you don't gave them your behind and now they don't want you no more, and now you in distraught and you depressed and you got anxiety, you having mental breakdowns because you allowed this person a piece of you and they mishandled it. But it's because they're not your husband. God give your husband grace to be able to handle that version of you. Everybody can't handle that, which is why he don't allow it outside of marriage. And so I think finding that reason of why you desire it so bad, and allowing God to bring that thing under, bring that thing subject and bring it under control so that you can wait, I think is a big question. And if you do have mother and father issues where, you get what I'm saying, they didn't have the birds and the bees talk with you, they didn't have the sex talk with you, they didn't tell you all the behind the scenes that go on when you have sex. Because I can only speak for me, but my first time having sex, you get what I'm saying? Nobody told me about, how it was going to be. Nobody told me what to expect. Nobody told me how to be safe about it. And so many times we get into that area and then you will find yourself in a worse off situation because nobody told you how to take care of yourself. Nobody told you what to do and what not to do if you did fall into that area. They just tell you not to do it. And when you telling this generation not to do something, you giving them ammunition to go and do it because you told them not to do it. And because we are a generation that honestly, we nosy. We want to know. We want to find out for ourselves. We don't want nobody telling us, you know, don't do this and not giving us a reason behind why we can't do it. We go out and do it because now we want to know. And instead of sitting down, having that conversation, to let us know and to, give us the talk and to explain to us why we should wait, instead of just tell us not to do it, you will see a big difference when you can give reasoning behind it. And I know you got some parents out there, some adults out there that feel like, I'm grown, I ain't got to give you no reason. I just told you not to do it. Mm-hmm. Well, now you've opened the door for them to go and do it. And yes. So if you have not had that conversation with your child, or if no one has had that conversation with you, I hope that tonight that you get a view and a perspective on why you should wait. Not us just telling you, not to have sex until you're married. Not us just shoving down your throat about Jesus don't want you to have sex. We want to give you real reasoning and real advice from the Word of God as to why you should wait.
Well said. And I pray that those parents that are out there listening, not just the parents, but the leaders would take heed to what is being said tonight. Because again, this is a platform that is provided to give this group a voice. Come on, Joanna.
I just wanted to say, when she said, know the reason why you're doing it, God spoke to me and said, a lot of people, they have a waiting season, but their intention is not always to do it because God said their intention sometimes is, I'm doing it because I'm gonna get my husband if I wait. That's also gonna be a disappointment too, because that does not qualify you to get married just because you're not having sex. You should be doing that because you want to genuinely follow God, because there's plenty of people out here that can tell you that they're still waiting on that spouse that they can't get, so you have to let that expectation go. You have to do it and say, I want to follow God. I'm doing this for my mental health. I'm doing this to not be intertwined with spirits I don't need to be intertwined with. I'm doing this for me, not what God got for me. Okay. I know he has things for me, and I know he will honor the desires of my heart, but I'm not doing it for that reason. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. And go ahead, Victoria.
I want to piggyback off of what Joanna said. When you really decide that you want to dedicate your life to God and you genuinely want something different, and you focus on yourself. And I know my pastor, she's on here, which is also my mama. She always encouraged her girls to focus on you. Now, she gave us the talk, the birds, the bees, but I was one, I'm curious. And so I went and found out, but when you really dedicate yourself to God and you want to focus on yourself, God knows the desires of your heart, and that'll come along. But as you're giving yourself more and more to God, and as you're focusing on you, knowing what you like to do, what you can bring to the table or whatnot, God will give you all of that as it comes. So I just encourage everybody to focus on you. Make sure you're okay before you want to bring somebody along, and then you bring in sex on top of that, and and it's no telling what else they had going on too, even before you. So just make sure you know your worth. And yeah, that's what I want to encourage everybody, just to focus on you and really dedicate yourself to God, because he'll give you all that. He'll give you the husband you want. He'll give you the car you want. And not even just the one that you want, but the one that you need, somebody that'll help you, along your journey. So I just encourage everybody, focus on yourself. That's the best thing I ever decided to do. Because I don't know about anybody else, and y'all can let me know how y'all feel, but when I have sex, if I have sex, it clouds my judgment on certain things. Especially, I'm so focused on that person, not because I'm in love. We done did whatever. Now I'm in love. So I'm like, okay, what does this person want? When I should be focused on me, because I still got a ways to go too. So I encourage everybody, focus on you and enjoy you, and God will give you all the desires of your heart.
Right.
Awesome.
And then to piggyback on what Victoria has a big thing with focusing on yourself and prioritizing yourself is mainly to have self-discipline. When you have self-discipline, everything falls into play like how it should. But this is one thing that I really had to take. This is a personal thing that I had to take on this year with my self-discipline, was knowing that in order for me to have control over myself, I first have to understand God first, because God is going to lead me through everything and everyone. He's going to give me that discernment that I need to be able to identify before the person even approaches me. This is no longer for you. This is not somebody that you want to interact with. Even by one simple sentence, he'll be able to tell me that's not for me. So with having that discipline and knowing God's word and knowing what he's telling me in the Bible, then it'll fall into me. And then once it'll fall into me and the self-discipline starts to form into me, it's like a snowball effect. It falls into every other aspect of my life. So that way I'm going to have self-discipline, prevent myself from setting myself around people and putting myself in situations that'll allow me to be enticed by someone else. And it'll also fall into other areas that you want to be disciplined in. Like I know for me personally, working out was something that I want to be really consistent with, but I had to have that self-discipline. In order for me to gain that self-discipline, I know off my own strength, I wasn't going to be able to accomplish that. I needed another strength that was greater than mine. And the only other strength that was greater than mine was what I received from God. So I also know that's something big that a lot of people deal with, is how to maintain that self-discipline. And the biggest way in gaining that is by staying in your word and being consistent. Consistency is everything. If you're consistent in everything that you do, everything will start to fall in place like how it should be. But you can't be consistent in one thing and not have God as your primary consistency. And that's one thing that I had to learn too. Is when I would invest myself into all these worldly consistencies, thinking like, hey, I want to stop doing this. So if I start investing my time in working out and distracting my mind from this, then maybe I'll be able to get away from this. Or, hey, I don't want to drink, so I'm going to go run around the block. And when you come back to the same place, you're still going to have that same desire. It's not going to go anywhere because it's all on the same playing field. And one thing that I was always taught is you can't look horizontal when you're trying to prevent yourself from doing the same things. You have to look vertically, because if you're looking on the same level with everybody else has their own things that they're battling with, that they're trying to get through. So if you look vertical and look to God, something of a higher power that's going to lead you and guide you into where you need to be in, nothing will come into place that will prevent you from taking that next step to going into that next chapter that he's trying to bring you into. So that was my favorite.
Awesome. I want to jump on Messyah, and I'm going to piggyback on a couple of ones. I'm going to let everybody else jump in. For Messyah, you said two key things. You talked about the absent father, and then you talked about understanding why you're doing what you're doing. So I want to kind of talk about that briefly. I want to relate to this. Some people that are sexually or promiscuous, they do a lot of different things, especially when it comes from a female perspective. Their root could have been molestation or rape. So I want to say a little bit about that. Okay. So looking at me as age 5 years old. So I didn't know anything about sex. So from one uncle to the next uncle, they did oral and rectal. And the reason why they did those two parts, because if they did the vagina and you go to the doctor, then they can tell you that your daughter's being molested. But if I do the rectum and if I do oral sex, then you can't really tell that. So then my introduction to sex started at age, of course, introduced at age 5, and it continued with different ones. And so then what that did, that opened up a portal that a young child would not even know what that means. Most people don't have knowledge of what a spirit is. They don't know unless you're in church, you hear that terminology. But if you're not in church, they don't know that a door has been opened. And now you're wondering why you're so promiscuous and why you're so susceptible, and you always want sex and you want this one and you want that one, because you have already been introduced to it. You've been violated. And so now you have all these doors open up from different people, whether it was male or female. And the second thing is when you have the absence of the father, because you've already been introduced and now you don't have that male figure. So you don't really understand, well, who do I look up to? And your mom may not be, she may have had several partners, so she really couldn't empower you either. So right, correct, when you say the female is looking for love in the wrong places. So when they do connect to the male and he do, sweep her off her feet, even though he was actually just trying to get between her legs, even though he did that. And so now she's given all of her heart into this relationship and he's gone on to somebody else. And so that's what happens to the female. And then also, Navi, I'm going to talk about the discipline part. So they used to tell me this years and years ago, go take a cold shower. You'll be all right. That cold shower do not work. Cold shower, somebody tell it, throw it out the door. Cold shower's not it.
Right.
Discipline is the key. Nobody better not tell you, babe, I done took cold shower, I done sat in ice, I done did all. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. What you have to do is called discipline. Now, will your body stop having all those feelings? Baby, you human. You are a woman. You are a man. Sometimes a man may wake up at night and you like, man, I'm hard as a rock. I'm just keeping it real. And then the female be like, oh my God, what's going on down here? Honey, I done went into the prayer closet. I done put oil on, did all of that, baby. You just got to have discipline. Discipline is the key. I'm just trying to keep it real. You know, this is what this is. I'm trying to keep it real. So you can't tell your body, look at it and say, don't you do that. Stop. No, you got to, it's in your mind. It's in your mind. You have to control it. You have to get to a place when you're in a relationship with God. And when you're in a relationship with God, not only will he do this for you, he will give you the strength and the power to tell your body what it's going to do. Meaning it may not stop. You can't, if your breast swell up and you like, man, because sometimes the cold will do it. And you be like, who? Or sometimes something could just flash before your mind. But you have to tell yourself, because the power, God says, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That means if I do it now, I do it because I want to do it. And that's the mindset is, I'm not going to do it. Why? Because God is able to keep me, and he is. If you want to be kept, he will keep you. And so I just want to make sure I say that, because we asked the question, you know, why is she so always freaking, you know? We don't know what the past took for her or him. We don't know whether or not he's been molested and what he did. Now he's having predators, because when you understand and you read on that, it tells you that a male that has been molested would do the same thing been done to him. So it's all kinds of reasons. That's why you can't judge a person by what you see, because you don't know the bottom surface of what they've gone through. All right. So who wants to jump in? Come on, y'all. This thing is real hot.
I'm gonna jump in.
Okay.
It's so funny. I know one of the sisters was saying about the presence of a father. Man, it's so crazy that on the man's perspective, I tried to figure out the same thing. Like, Alex, like, why you keep wanting to have sex? Like, you know, I got 4 babies, but I got 3 baby mamas. So I was chasing sex. Like, I'm talking about, man, it's been times in my life, I'm gonna be real with y'all, just being honest, because I'm transparent and I believe in order for change, you gotta be honest and transparent. There's been times in my life I done had sex with three women in one day. Like, and I'm like, what are you chasing? And now that I understand, you know, Jesus Christ, the Father, I understand who he is in my life. What I was chasing was, like, my daddy was absent in my life. My daddy always put females before me. Always. My whole life, my daddy has been married. If he gets married again, this would be the 7th time. So I understand why I had it input in me, because I was chasing for that. I'm doing the same thing he did, but just in a different way. I wasn't getting married, but I'm having sex. So it's like the absence of a father, man, it's powerful for a woman and a male. So it's like, we males, you'll see a man, you be like, man, he crazy. He just want to have sex. And it's like, nah, like, he don't got no father. He don't got no man to really love him. Now, that's why they say you're born again, you know, once Christ. So once you're born again and you understand your father in Christ, like me, I'm okay. Like, now that I understand it, I love my daddy to death. I pray for him every night. But now that I've been born again and I understand, boy, this whole time I had a daddy. I just didn't know I had a daddy. So it's like, you just got to understand that, man. I got a friend who, one of my best friends right now, a business partner, he did 17 years in prison. And he went to school while he was in prison for I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically he went to school for breaking down the Bible. So before I met this friend, like, yes, I believed in God, but I didn't understand Jesus, if that makes sense. Like, I believed in God, but I didn't understand the Bible. But when I met this friend, like, my mama praised God, my mama praised Jesus, my grandma praised God, my grandma praised Jesus. But when I met this friend and he could really give me the knowledge of the Bible, oh my goodness. Like, I'm in the process right now. I'm trying to eat right. I don't want to eat meat no more, because in the Bible, that's what the Bible says. I don't want to have sex right now until I get married. I'm talking about I'm turning my life around, and around a lot of people, it's looking weird. Like my mama, like, what you mean you don't want me to make no chicken? I'm like, Mama, I know it sounds weird, but now that I understand the word and I understand who Jesus is in my life, I just want to live how he want me to live. So I think that the knowledge is so important. And sometimes we don't, in my life, when I ask people questions, I ask my mama, what you mean don't have sex before I get married? Her answer was, you just not supposed to do it. And then that wasn't good enough. I needed somebody to explain it to me and tell me why not to do it. So now that I have somebody who can do that, man, I understand the word. I'm read right now. I don't even watch Netflix no more. I just want to read the Bible and listen to it, because now I'm putting all this in my brain and I see it making me better. Why wouldn't I feel into that? I done did all type of bad things that made me worse that I thought was making me better. I done almost joined gangs. I done had multiple females. I done did all the bad. So why wouldn't I get into the word and do good if I see it's making better for me?
Awesome. Who else? Who's jumping in?
You can go ahead, Joanna. I'll go
Okay.
after you.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing I was thinking of when you said, I'm having sex, and I can't stop having sex, whoever made that comment or whatever. One thing my pastor always says, he says, sin will make you sick, but when you done with it, it ain't done with you. So don't be hard on yourself if you're constantly having that feeling. That's a human thing, but that's why the Bible says, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. We have to be careful about what we feed ourselves, because that's only going to transpire on the outside. So just like he's saying, you stay in that word, you're gonna find your appetite being different. You're not gonna be as horny. You're not gonna be,
That's it.
Social media, if you're looking at half naked people, what you gonna want? A naked person.
Better say it.
About what you feed yourself.
That's it. And just to comment before you, Victoria, you stated something, and I want to say this because I know a lot of young people are not Christians, okay? So I want to keep it real too. We have some young people that are Christians, and I thank God for you all in your lifestyle. Obviously, that's why Lord pulled you together so you can be a mouthpiece and also show who he is in your life and stand up for who he is. And you have those individuals that may not be Christian that you're watching. And I know you may be watching tonight. And we're going to also look at some questions in just a minute after Victoria. And then whoever else, I think maybe Maya may want to say something. But I want to say this as well. It is so key what you feed yourself. That's why, when you talked about watching certain things on TV, if you know that your whole you may be calm at that moment, but now you want to look at a straight rated X triple DX movie, and they are between the sheets is not even it. You see everything. And so now all of a sudden you're going to maybe start thinking, and then your body going to be on fire. Next thing you're going to know, you're going to be done, make that phone call. So you do have to make sure that you monitor what you see, because these are the portals, these are the gateways to your soul and to your spirit. So you have to make sure that you have to know you. That's just all it is to it. It may not necessarily even be something you watch. It could be something you listen to. It could be several things. It could be around a group of people or friends that you're with, and they're doing other stuff. You just have to make sure you know who you are in your safe zone, because if you don't understand that, that's when you get yourself in trouble. Because it's easy to say, and I promise you, I've said it plenty of times too. When I became single, it was totally different. I was the one that was like, Lamar ain't gonna never do nothing to make God disappointed her. But when I became single, it was a whole different ball game. And the reason why it was a different ball game, because I never walked saved and single. I got married instantly when I got saved. So I never experienced being single. So being single is almost like I had this big bullseye, because I say, Lord, is there a bullseye on my back to say, get her? Because I promise you, they got me. I'm just being real. I was like, what the heck going on? Because every time I turn around, all fall. So it's like, and I got to a place I promise you, I used to ask the Lord all the time. I said, God, something got to be wrong with me. He says, a pit bull smells his meat. Y'all better hear me talking. A pit bull will smell his meat. And so a male can look at you and know, I'm gonna get her. She's ready. Come on, I'm talking real, y'all. I'm talking real. Look at Alex over there. But yeah, and I'm gonna say the last part I want to say at the end, but I just want to make sure we understand this. You know, again, being single, you guys are very, very young. And of course, you know, at the time, you know, I was young too, but I wasn't single. I was married. But when I went through the divorce, I had to walk single, and it took me a long time to figure that thing out. I promise you, all this pieces of gold behind me, child, I probably got them many probably behind me, but I'm trying to let you know that I didn't have nobody to tell me, you know, like Lamar, because you know what, I had a portal that was open too, from not having the father, from all the molestation, all the stuff. And so it took me a long time, but I will say this before Victoria say what she's going to say. It was not until that one moment, maybe the last time, that God says, I'm gonna let them crush you, because if because you're not going to stop, you're going to keep doing it, because you'll do it and you'll say, okay, God, forgive me or whatever, then you get back up and whatever. But God did not. He allowed the course to finish its course. And this particular time, the reason why I have the name Queen Esther, because it was my daddy who called me a queen. It was the Lord at my breaking moment, when my heart was crushed to pieces. You couldn't even put it together. It had already dissolved like water. It was just diced that much. And I was in the bathroom. Okay. The Lord said, "You're my queen." And I was like, Daddy, dripping water. I said, God, how can I be your queen without I messed up so bad? He says, "You're my queen." And that's how I got Queen Esther Network. And then he said this to me, and I've never been called a queen. He told me and he related me to Queen Esther. He said, you got to understand your value, who you are. He says, you are a queen and you are priceless. And that's how my mind process started changing. Was I saved? Yes, I was saved, but I was still looking for love. I wanted to be loved. And I did have the father, and I had went through so many relationships, and my self-esteem was down and all those things. So I'm excited because the global innovators are here. You are younger. You can share insight into your relationship. You can give somebody else hope where somebody else may not have had that hope, but you're speaking from your experience and you're not afraid to hide it. But I just want to share that it's been a journey. But I want to let you know, when you say, you know, how do people keep falling back in the same thing? It's easy to say that I won't do it. It's easy to say, not me, but it's not until that moment. That's why you have to know your own, your danger zones. You have to know you. You have to know you. That's why I don't be judgmental to somebody else that may have fallen. You know why? Because I don't know what their situation was. I knew what I went through. I knew why I kept messing up. I knew I was looking for that right person. And I knew that each one of them, I already knew they wasn't worth a dime, but I wanted the dime rather than have not a penny. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
But the wisdom, it took growing in God. It took growing in him. That's why I'm saying it's easy to say these things, because you got other people that's listening, and we're talking about spirits, and they're like, well, what the heck is a spirit? I don't know what it is. Is something I'm gonna see? No, it's not anything you're gonna see. It's just something that happens. It's emotional ties. It's strong ties. It's when you connect to the person and you like, you connected to them in every area, your emotions, everything about you. You eat and sleep and you think about them, and then they somewhere else released into another person.
Yes.
And so, come on, I just want to share that for those that may not understand some of our terminology, that may not understand spirits, they may not understand what strong ties are, because I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't have church background. I had the hood and street background. That's all I had. I didn't have any of that. So I just want us to make sure that even while we're relating this, yes, now we understand. And this is how it is with a female. You know, when we grow up, when our heart been jacked up, and so that's when we wise up. We say, shoot, I ain't going to this again.
All right.
So we wise up when everything done broke and hit and fell and hit rock bottom. So now we're going to say, I'm not going through that again. And then we put up this wall, and it's like, I'm not talking to you. So then we have, and I don't know why I'm going, I must got to go here. We have this long resume that says, okay, if he don't do this, he don't do that. That ain't the one. Let me help you right there. And I'm going to go to you, Victoria. You don't put the wall up because your heart has got broken. What God says, he says, guard your heart, because out of it comes the diligence. It comes things of life. Guard it. Yes, you protect it, but you don't put a chain on it, because you don't never know who God is sending in your direction. What you do, you do Proverbs chapter 5, the Lord says, trust me with all your heart. What does that mean? That means your body, soul, mind, and spirit. That means you don't think about it. You just let him lead, direct, and guide. All right, come on, Victoria. Let's roll with Victoria. We're going to drop that to Danielle. We're going to come over here to Maya, Naisha, and then everybody else. Come on, let's go.
Okay, so I actually got two things from hearing Alex talk and
Okay.
then hearing you talk. So
Okay.
I want to go back to what Alex said when he was saying, you know, he knew his mama, his grandma, they served God and Jesus, but he didn't really understand it. It's something about when you, for yourself as a young adult, get to know God for yourself. Like I said, my mama, she's on here, she's a pastor. I knew how much my mama served the Lord. I knew how much my grandma served the Lord, and my aunts, all of my ministers and whatnot. But it's something about when you get your own personal relationship with God and you figure out who he is for you, like who Jesus is to me. I know what he did for my mama, but what did he do for me? I know what he did for everybody else who testify in church, but what did he do for me? And I think when I really grasped that, when I got myself in situations when the only person I could depend on was Jesus, that was the biggest thing. Now, like he said, you dive more into your word. Now, certain stuff you do, I don't want to do it no more. Certain people used to hang with, I don't want to hang with no more. Like, I want to draw closer to the person who literally has brought me this far. So that was really, really good, because that's where I am now personally. Like, I know me and Joanna was talking the last panel. It's something about when you, well, both of us, I don't know about everybody else age, but we was like, it's something about when you turn 24, like, I don't know if it's just because I'm like, okay, I'm closer to 30 or whatever, but it's something about 24, like, it's like, okay, I got to get my life together now. I got to get myself together. I got to get ready for what's coming next in my life. So that was really good. I wanted to just share my experience too. And I'm from looking at my phone. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to write stuff down because I'm the one that I'll go blank if I don't write it down. And so I want to go back to what Apostle Lamar said when she said about, you know, keeping yourself and how she used to do it, whatever. And, you know, she was married and saved, but then she got single and saved. So it's just like the question that popped up in my head that other people may have is like, okay, I done did it already now. So how do I now keep myself from going back down that same road? So for me, how I'm keeping myself is, for one, I stay busy. Like, I'm in school right now. I work a full-time job, and then shout out to Apostle Lamar for Global Innovators, so that just added something else to my plate. Because so I stay busy. Like, when I say I stay busy or whatnot. And I also know, like, okay, my triggers. I know I can't stay out too late. When I'm with somebody, you know, he want to take me out, you know, okay, and I'm feeling him. We can't sit in this car and talk too long. And you crying like this, we can't sit in this car and talk too long. And I know that's one thing my mama always told us too. You need to be in this house by 10 o'clock. And I used to be like, Mom, you lame. Everybody else, they don't have no curfew. And here I am, 18 with a curfew. But that helped me, because now I know, okay, I don't need to be staying out too late. It got dark, you know, we close, and we can't do that. And also too, paying attention to what I watch. And I know you said, like, you know, a lot of people aren't saved on here, so they don't know. But also, I just want to encourage people who don't know about like spiritual stuff, pay attention to how stuff makes you feel mentally after you get done with it. If something is draining you, that's already an indication right there. Okay, this is something I can't do anymore. I can't watch this. I can't scroll. You know, like he said, seeing the half-naked women, seeing the half-naked men, you know, they got the gray sweatpants. You know, you can't look at all of that stuff. You know, okay, I got to watch what I watch, watch what I'm putting in my body. Because even if, you know, you smoking, drinking, whatever, you know, that's something else that's taking control of you. Not yourself, not God, but something else. So I know if I get a little drink, a little wine, I can't do that. So just being careful what you put into your eye gates, your ear gates, especially your eyes, because you got ads popping up now. And like I said, I was one that, you know, my mama told me X, Y, and Z. She had to talk with me, but I was curious. You see the ads pop up, and a lot of kids are curious now. So that's why I say, you know, on social media, you really have to be careful. So yeah, that's my Instagram thing.
That is so good. I just want to add to what Victoria, Alex, and Apostle Lamar said, because one thing that I feel like nobody talks about the struggle when you are trying to change. When you made the decision to say,
And baby, it's a struggle.
It's on lockdown now, so nobody talks about that. And y'all don't laugh, but I'm so serious. When I decided to make up my mind, God, I'm done. I'm trying to live for you. That feeling used to come. That y'all know that Rose was calling my name. I'm like,
I know.
Come, honey.
Look,
Come here.
the Rose be calling your name, y'all. I have to get up and run around the house and scream Jesus to
Come
calm me
on.
down.
Can we talk about it? What's the
How
scripture
to pour oil.
What's the scriptures you gave me?
For real. And
Come on.
y'all, when I tell y'all, no one talks about that struggle, especially and I know for me, and I'm gonna be real transparent. With the type of father that I have, although he was not in my life, for some reason it seemed like I attracted those type of men.
Talk about it.
And my apostle, she does this conference called the No Longer a Victim Conference, where she talks about the victim spirit. And I used to wonder, like, you know, why do I keep attracting these type of men? Like Apostle Lamar said, like, dang, is it a sign on my back that say I love hood niggas? You get what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be real.
Girl, the charming ones too. The chameleons, the one that blend in with everybody, get everybody respect.
And so I had to act like literally when I finally made the decision, like, God, I want to save myself. I mean, I don't gave it up, but I want to save what's left and you restore me. Bring it back. But I had to ask God that question, like, God, why do I keep attracting this? But one thing about it that no one talks about is that victim spirit that's over you now. Once you give yourself to community, once you've given yourself to these type of people, now it's this spirit that's following you. You get what I'm saying? And you wondering why you attracting the same type of men. You wondering why they come at you sweet, and then once you give them your body, now they turn into a whole different person because that spirit know you. That spirit has been monitoring you. That spirit has been following you, and now it knows your triggers. It knows where your self-esteem. It knows where you're weak at. And so it attacks what's weak. It attacks those areas that they know is weak for you. And so that's why, like, they talk about the triggers. You gotta watch, you gotta be careful about what you watch. Y'all, I don't watch TV. I'm not a TV watcher at all. And it's not because I'm just, you get what I'm saying, I'm that weak in that area. But for me, when I finally made the decision to come out of that place, I wasn't even interested in watching TV no more. I got TVs in my house and they don't get cut on until somebody come over here, my family come over and something like that, and they want to watch it. But it's not because of that. It's just, I'm trying to guard myself so much to the point now, I don't care what's on TV. When I start scrolling on social media, Twitter is a porn site now. So when you get to scrolling and all you seeing is you know, porn and all of this type of stuff, that stuff takes you to a place, and it does. You are not careful. And so nobody talks about how much of a struggle it is when you decide not to have sex anymore, when you decide to stop having sex until marriage, because the enemy will make it look good. He'll tell you to go buy that vibrator. You get what I'm saying? Oh, it ain't no sin because at least ain't nobody entering you. It's still a sin because you still have sex.
That's it.
So that's not of God, because what do you think is taking you there when you using a vibrator?
Exactly.
When you start having
or you
fingering yourself, when you start having wet dreams and things like that, that's a spirit.
Yeah.
And so when you choose to break free from that area of not having sex, now you have to pray against all of the things that the enemy was seeing, whether he come through your dreams, whether he come through TV, whether he come through what you're listening to. You have, when conversations come up, if you know you can't handle a conversation with people talking about sex, get away from it. Because you don't want to open that door up. And it's hard, and nobody talks about it. They just say stop having sex. If you really love God, you'll stop doing it. But no one tells you about the after effect when you're choosing to save yourself now.
That's it.
So now you got to go through a whole process of regeneration of trying not to fall into masterbation. Because that's a whole nother field and a whole nother level too that no one.
Yes, it is. Oh my God.
And I don't care how good people make it seem. I don't care how much people say, you get what I'm saying? Oh, I don't do that. Or they don't put it on Front Street that they do it. They struggle with that because
that's right.
because your flesh sometimes get weak. Yes, you have people that can tame themselves, but sometimes you do fall into that place. And when you are fresh coming out of having sex and you are fresh trying to hold yourself, masturbation will be right there in your face and it'll make you weak. And you have to fight that battle when you are, and that's a struggle that you have to fight with when you have chosen to save yourself into marriage. And nobody talks about that. But like Victoria said, keeping yourself busy, and don't keep yourself busy to the point where you overwhelmed, but you have to keep yourself busy because you have to keep your mind off of that thing. If you know you can't sit in the house in dead silence because your mind goes somewhere else, you need to get up and do something. Go clean up or something. You know what I mean?
That's right.
To find what works for you. Like Victoria said, for her, it works for her to be busy. It works for her to have different things on her plate, because by the time she get done, you can say her mind ain't on sex. She's fine. So you got to find what works for you. What is it that will keep you from being distracted by sex? You got to do something. Get in the Word of God, and when you start getting the Word in your heart and you start seeking God, God will tame those desires. And y'all, I'm not even gonna hold you. And people be saying I'll be over dramatic, but I'm so serious. When I decided not to have sex anymore, and I was like Apostle Lamar said, you know, she got to her breaking point, like, God, I'm tired of this. It got to a point, y'all, where when I was having sex, I wouldn't even repent for it no more. Cause I'm like, God, I like having sex. I ain't finna keep repenting. And then I know I'm gonna turn around and do it. You get what I'm saying? So I wasn't doing that because it's not sincere. If you're repenting and you still do the same thing, that's not real repentance. You didn't turn from your ways.
That's right.
Real repentance is turning from what you said, what you were doing, and saying that you were going to do. So when I finally made the decision to turn from that point, y'all, when I tell you, I used to pray, God, please take the desires away until my husband comes. I lie not to y'all. It's very rare that those feelings come up. Do they come up? Yes, because I'm still human. But I promise you, not near as much as they were when I was actually coming out of that thing.
Exactly.
And so when people tell you, well, if you want to stop having sex, you can do it. It's a decision. Yes, it's a decision. But what about all the struggles that come with you not choosing to have sex after you've already been introduced to that thing? It's different when you have not been introduced to it because you don't know anything about it. But when you've already been introduced to it and you trying to stop it, it's like a crackhead. They on crack. But when they trying to come off of it, it's hard. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes they because they're used to. They know the feeling that it gave them. And so it's just like that with sex. When you have sex, it's a certain feeling that you get that is a desirable feeling that you want to keep feeling because it feels good. But you have to learn how to control that thing. You have to allow God, and you cannot do it in your own strength. You have to allow God to bring that thing subject. You have to allow the power of God to sustain you and to believe that he can genuinely sustain you until your husband comes. And also for those that God have he gives the gift of singleness to some people. So some people, you get what I'm saying? They're able to be single, but you're still human. So you're still going to have those desires. But if God got you in a season of singleness, that's your time to really get to know God and to really learn that it's going to be worth it when God do send me a husband. Some people, they ain't meant to be single. Some people need to be married because they can't hold themselves. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Whatever area you fall in, you get what I'm saying? You have to learn what works for you. And if you know you trying to come out of that place, or you are already out of that place, but you still deal with the effects of coming out of that place, figure out what works for you and pray and ask God to tame those desires until he send the one for you. And when God do that, he will really do that if you ask him. He will really tame those desires for you. Yes, you will still have them, but they won't be as bad. Y'all, sometimes when you coming out of that thing, it's uncontrollable sometimes. You get what I'm saying? You wonder how your hands don't got down there, and you don't even put them down there. You know,
you better say it. Come on. And you're right, Messyah. And I want to comment on this. Two things. Well, one thing is that I didn't stop because I got tired of it. I stopped because God allowed the person to break me in pieces. And that's what made me run into God's arm, because I needed a healing in my heart, in my mind, my spirit, and my soul. So God allowed me to keep going through the line until I decided till it broke me. So when it broke me, he knew that once she finished, because I can keep, because I have preached and I couldn't even preach because I was like, oh my God, just got done. And I'm just being honest, because I'm about to bust somebody bubbles who's watching. If you're watching, you might be a leader too. And therefore, I've been in the pulpit before, and this has happened to me one time, and I couldn't even preach. And the reason I couldn't preach because I just got through laying down, and I was laying down because I thought this person going to be my spouse, and they wasn't. So when you talked about those spirits that follow you, you're going to know when you broken from them, because those things that you would normally attract, you don't attract no more. They're not coming because why? You have a different aura upon you. And so now they're going to think twice before they even come say anything to you, because they're like, darn, you didn't have to have no cross. You don't have to have on that. It's just your presence of who God is upon your life. That's one thing. And the second thing, before whoever's jump in, we talked about all the penetrating type of sex too, and I want to jump in on this, Messyah. The other kind too is the one where you said we have to masturbate and all those things, because what happened when you are coming out of from having sex all the time is your body is jumping, is desiring to have that, and so therefore you buy the different devices, and you start using your hand and things like that. And so I'm going to say this. That was a place that I was at, in my life, but I'm just being transparent, because I said, well, if I do it to myself, I ain't got to worry about nobody breaking my heart. So that was an area I resorted to. So I was like, shoot, I just play with Tom and Jim, imaginary friends, and just let it be done. But at the bottom line, you still was miserable, because when you got finished with that, you like, is that it? Is that it? It's got to be more than that. Like, what? And so
it don't even help. You still be wanting to do it.
It don't even help at all. It makes you more miserable, because then you're like, man, this ain't it right here. It's like, no. And so again, for those that's watching, we're going to, after Victoria and Maya and Alex, we're going to allow opportunity, and Danielle, when they go around again, those that have questions in our audience, we're going to entertain those questions to a certain degree, depending on what they are. But I just want to say this. I know this. When I let it go, I let it win. And I want to say this. I don't want everybody to think that you got to stop having sex because you're saving yourself for your mate. I need you to do this for yourself and God. That's the main thing. If he send a mate, he's saying that means God got a plan, vice versa, male or female. But I want you to do it because you love God and you got standards now and you understand who you are. So whether he or she comes or not come, I'm not going to do it because I choose not to, because this is the way that I live, and I want to live what's pleasing to God, not to nobody else. And then, of course, myself. So I want to make sure I preface that as well. But now I want to make sure we jump over here. Who is next?
I just wanted to just say something real quick. It was funny, she was talking about masturbation. And it's crazy, like the levels in our faith, like how we come out of things, because I went from, boom, like 3 females a day, 2 females a day, 1 female a day. Then I felt like I was doing good because, man, I was just cheating with just 1 female. And then I went from that to, okay, I'm going to just have sex with 1. And then I went to saying, all right, well, guess what? All I'm doing is getting head. Like, I'm just getting head. It ain't that bad. And then I fell down. So, you know what, God, all right, I ain't going to get head. But guess what? I can still masturbate. Like, that can't be that bad. And then I got to a point where I'm like, dang, man. They all the same. It don't matter how I try to dumb it down and how I try to make it better for me. God, I don't need to be doing this. That was a powerful when you was talking about the masturbation thing, because I honestly just went through that part in my life, because it was like, yeah, I got down pat on no sex, but it was like porn had a hold. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm coming home. I'm like, man, listen, it's okay. I didn't got it down packed with not calling the females, but boy, Pornhub, boy,
that was it.
His thing.
Come on.
And now I'm like, God, that's a demon. That's like it. What you got going on, Alex? Like, you got to get rid of all that. And like you say, if you do see yourself getting into that, now I'm to a point where, man, even if I get hard, man, I get up and cut on some gospel music.
Look,
you got to get that serious.
You do. You have to. And then the porn was another problem too, because again, you could be introduced to all these things that you may not have been used to, because your mate. And again, those were some things that were introduced. So you have that's why when you open that door up, everything comes in. And that's why another reason why you have to guard yourself and guard who you are. And you know, a guard, they call those portals because they are portals. Even now, you know, you can turn on anything. Now they got it in cartoons. I mean, they got it everywhere. Everywhere you look at it somewhere. So you just have to make sure you guard yourself, period. Okay, who's next? Somebody
Joanna, want to go?
And
Okay.
just talking about, did somebody go? Okay, just talking about those portals open doors to spirits. And sometimes it is a discipline thing, but it could be a spirit that you're wrestling with. And I can honestly speak from experience. God will deliver you in the privacy of your own home. You just got to get close to God and seek him for yourself. Even when I was involved in different things, I didn't go all the way, but still sexual sin, it opened a door for a spirit to pounce on me. And the Bible says when the righteous cry out, he will deliver. And so I really just, as you said, like you got to your breaking point, I really cried out to God for deliverance, and he delivered me in the privacy of my own home. I mean, I was sick. I was throwing up all day, but I knew it wasn't something natural. Spirit that I was wrestling with. So I just want to tell people, believe God that he will deliver right where you are. You don't have to be in a church house to be delivered. You don't have to be on an altar to be delivered, but you can be delivered in the privacy of your own home.
That's so good.
Amen.
I just wanted to say, if there is somebody watching that does not believe in God, and you find yourself having sex right now, and you find yourself experiencing the feelings that we're talking about, feeling empty after the act is done and just not being fulfilled, that void that you feel, like Messyah said, we're running away from something. That void is only one thing that can fill that void, and that's God. I mean, it's just, if you don't know him, seek him today, because there's nothing drinking, there's no smoking, there's no sex that can really make that feeling go away. Like,
That's it. That's it.
What I was gonna say, y'all talked about a lot. I was just catching on, like, good. You talking about father absent. I like, same thing, Messyah. I was finding a man that's just like my father. I'm like, why? And I'm just like, the same thing. I'm like, God, can you send me somebody else? So then I realized I was prophesied. God said, I want you to spend more time with me. I want you to bring your attention to me. So realizing that I was not listening to God, I'm like, God, I don't want to be alone at night. And I'm gonna be honest, don't nobody want to be alone on no Saturday night, because that's just an awful feeling. But I have to realize God was telling me, like, girl, I'm trying to tell you, give me your attention and I will give you your favors. So then when I had to grow up and realize, open that Bible up, put on some gospel music on that Saturday night. You don't need to cry because you alone at no party. Go ahead and put that gospel music on. Go ahead and write your notes. And one thing, as a young person, you need to realize, get you a notebook. Write how you feel, because people from different generations not going to understand our generation. They're not going to listen to what we're saying until it's something serious or till somebody dies. That's why suicide is just a bigger cause in our generation, because don't nobody want to listen to the person until they die. So that's why we need to have a journal and to get like a real good close adult from another generation and let them listen to it. So that is very important. And then being alone is very like hard, because I asked God for this prayer. I said, God, if they're not in my life, take them out. The next day, all my friends were gone. Wow. Now that prayer right there is just, if you prayed that prayer before, you just know it's real for real, because God had put everyone away. The next month after I had prayed that prayer, I got in a bad situation where my relationship, it just went wrong. I got cheated on, and then I didn't know what to do, and I was just in this hole. And then it would just happen after high school. I just graduated. I didn't know what to do. I just graduated and I was going to college, but it happened in the summertime. So all this depression and all me, I didn't know what to do. So I seek to God. I stopped going to church more. And then I just like, God, I need your help right now, because my heart is broken. My parents didn't teach me how to deal with a broken heart like that. So I had to learn by myself, like, God, my heart is broken. Help me out. So he's like, okay, I'm going to help you out. I want you to go to church. And I want you to sing for me too. You saying you're going to get to travel with them more. And you're going to see the different prophesied people doing. You're going to learn more about me. So me doing that, I had to realize, like, God is putting you through different situations to make you stronger. And people don't understand, as a young person, God gonna put you in different situations to see how strong you is. If you want to ask God for a different elevation, he gonna put you through it. I'm gonna just be honest. You want God to put you in like a good elevation of strong, he gonna put you in that different level and see if you can take it. That's what this world is for. He is testing you to see if you can go through it. He is testing you to see if you're gonna make it to heaven. And then I wanted to say mentally drained. One that I realized from my last relationship, yeah, he cheated on me, but I gave him another chance, which I shouldn't have done. Because once you realize you had lost trust, you check like, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Now you just like, why am I like trying to figure out why he doing this and I'm doing that, because I'm mentally drained. And one thing is hard to do, you have to let it go. That is something very, very hard to do, because you have to let go of a relationship you thought that you were gonna marry that man. You have to let go of the relationship that you met that man's parents. That's something hard to do. So something to do, you have to let it go. So as people my age, I give you the advice to just, if you're going through a situation like mine, let it go. No hesitation. Just let it go. Give God your attention, because God is a jealous God. So you need to give God your attention. You need to listen to him. You need to pray to him, and then he will answer your favors.
Amen. Amen. This is what I want to do. I want everybody to get their final nuggets. But before we do that, I want us to check social media and see if we have any questions that anyone want us to answer. If we can do that. And while we're waiting on that, what I want to do is this, because we're talking about, we're dealing with is it all of that, sex. But I want to make sure we provide some more, some key principles as well. The person is sexually active, what can we tell them? If a person is struggling, trying to walk the right way, what can we tell them? And I also want to talk about those who, they in between, maybe they don't even know, and I hear this, they could be, sexual active with another woman or sexual active with another man. I want to make sure that we just speak to those things. And I want to say this, while we're looking to see if any questions on social media, when I went through that final ordeal, which was the hardest hit of my life, and that's how, I got the name Queen Esther. Even at that moment, some of the ones still tried to come back, after that moment. But it wasn't until I got to the point where I sold myself to God, as when they say, so I became his property. And when I made up my mind and decided that God, I am going to live for he helped me walk in process. And then not only that, God will also show you in the midst of your pain. So I want to make sure we understand, sometimes you're going to see yourself. Sometimes it's also generational things that have been passed down from your mom, because my mom had all these different, males, and her mom had all those different males, and it was just so on and so on. So it was a bloodline issue. It was a cycle. It was a system. And so it had to break with me. And that's what happened. So sometimes you're trying to figure out why I can't shake this thing. You have to also go and research, see what happened in your family bloodline, see who did what was your dad like, what was your mom like, what was their relationships like, if they got a lot of kids, do you all have different fathers? And so you can kind of trace some things and look at, okay, now, even though that's what happened to them and it's trying to consume me, now that you know who you are in God and you're a new creature and you understand your identity, then you can break that and you can beat that. And that's what happened. And so now, of course, why God is having us do this in this time, could it already have started? It possibly could, but God said he saw this moment. Maybe he heard your prayers that you were crying out to God, saying, just like Aamiya was talking about on weekends. So why don't we have events, social gatherings for our young people? Everything don't have to be church. Why don't we have events where, we're going somewhere and hanging out or whatever? The problem is sometimes, being isolated and lonely can also cause problems. You don't want to be isolated and by yourself. You want to socialize with other believers like-minded, just like yourself. And I promise you, that's called your support group. They will actually be your support group. Why? Because you're thinking like they're thinking like they don't want to fall. They don't want to mess up. And you don't want to spend all your mind focusing on, I don't want to mess up on. You focus on your purpose, focus on what God is calling you to do even now. And if you do that, you don't have to be, because what happened is you'll spend all your time trying to make sure you don't. And that's when the enemy try to creep up. And so I just want to make that aware to everybody. So maybe, this is the group that God is saying, okay, let me Global Innovators, who I didn't know that was the name. I just text the group and said, good morning, Global Innovators. And boom, that's what it was, because God had a plan, because he knew that he was going to raise up some young people that was going to be a voice for him, that was going to stand for what is right. They have already been through some things, some pitfalls and some heartbreaks and some broken hearts, some broken spirits, and mentally distressed and all that different stuff. And now they've got to the point and say, okay, is that all to it? And so God is going to use this group. And so before we share our final thoughts and things, and again, I want to leave some principles. Every show that we ever do, I want to make sure that whatever we say, we're going to leave some principles that can be applicable to the lives. We already know that the principles that you apply are to believers, but we also know that those who are not believers, we want to tell them what can they do. So let me ask Victoria, do we have any questions? Anybody put any questions on social media?
So I don't see any, but I also don't see a live. So maybe if you want to check on your end, because
Okay.
I didn't see any.
Okay. Okay, it should be on. Did anybody else see it? Okay. Okay. So can somebody tag Victoria too as well, so she can have it? And those that's watching, right now we have about 15 shares and about 185 comments thus far. So somebody else can be checking as well. And those that's watching, if you would go ahead now, share and tag. As you're sharing and tag, put in that Global Innovators, put also QENTV.org. Therefore, you can go and subscribe and follow to all the social media platforms at the beginning of the page towards the bottom. And therefore, you'll be aware of everything that we're doing, when we're going to do it. But I want to make sure if you have any questions and you want us to answer, we're just checking the live right now to see if there are any questions. Joanna, do you see anything in there? Any questions in there?
I see a question for Alex. Tabitha said, what advice can you give a man that's in a relationship trying to start over and save himself for the Lord?
Okay, let's go with that. Okay.
Interesting. I would, and I know we try to make things so hard. And it's like, man, how do you do this? And how my advice would be, I'm sorry, y'all. I got a phone call, but my advice would be what I did. And what that is getting an understanding of who God and who, Jesus is for me. And building my relationship, because before now I didn't get it. Like, I was like, man, how I'm gonna do this, man? I know I can't stop having sex. Like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Like, even from sex to drugs to, man, if you saw me 5 years ago compared to who I am now, you wouldn't believe it. I used to ride around with all type of stuff. So it's like I had to get the knowledge for myself. So my advice would be, man, don't be scared to get the knowledge. And if whoever the gentleman is, or whoever it is who's asking that question, if you would like me to connect you to who helped me, I definitely would love to. On Instagram, my name is _entrepreneur God. And if you want to follow and me get you and connect who helped me break the Bible down, who helped me with my salvation, maybe that I would love to do that. Prayer is something else that works and helps. But yeah, I would say don't be scared to find out, because I know. Don't be scared to find out. Because me, I was kind of scared because I didn't know. But I would say to find out for yourself, and get the knowledge of it. Don't go by your mama knowledge. Don't go by your daddy knowledge. Don't go by your church knowledge. And nothing's wrong with church. But what got me right was not church. I love my pastor to death. But he didn't inform me on who Jesus Christ is. He didn't. I couldn't go on the pulpit and ask him certain questions that I need to ask him. But one of my real close friends did. So I would just say, man, don't be scared to find somebody who can answer those questions. And when I say ask them, man, ask every question you need to ask. And if they can't answer it, you got to find that person. So, you know, God led somebody in my life who, like I said, went to school for breaking the Bible down all the way. So if you would like me to extend that to you all, I would love to. I would love to. Men and women. So yeah.
Okay, and I just want to add to that. The house of God is the place that you're supposed to know who God is. So whoever that leader is, or whoever is ministering, or whoever it is, that's what they should do, show you who God is. They should talk to you about certain things. And if for whatever the reason, you know, that's not being done, you may want to ask them, is it okay for you to, you know, to attend certain groups that may have, you know, things for your age group or whatever, because no hospital has everything. They always send you out to a specialty, but you always want to do things in decency and in order. Just like this group here, these global innovators. I could not just go and say, you know, I need you to be part of this or whatever. Those that had leaders, I had to make sure I asked their leaders, can they be a part? Can they, you know, be a part of what's going on? So I just want to make sure we understand that the house of God is for that. And if that, you know, a leader that you may be under is, you know, go to them and ask, maybe you could be a part of, you know, attending some groups, just like what we're doing right now. And I guarantee you that they will allow that to happen for you. All right, any more questions? Anything else in there in the streaming? Joanna, did you see anything else?
Do you see it, Victoria? You don't see it? Okay.
I still don't see it.
You say
Okay,
what?
get somebody, make sure they tag it.
I still don't see it. And I went through the website as well. I don't see it on any platforms.
Okay. I have the last question pulled up here.
Okay.
This question is for Aamiya. Any advice on how to deal with heartbreak?
I'm keeping real with you. My advice on the heartbreak, for me, it was kind of tough. It depends on what situation it is. If you really like the male, it's really not that hard. You can just block him, have nothing to deal with him. Now, if you had a whole relationship with him, met his mom and his whole family and stuff, it's kind of hard because you didn't share memories of him. So what I did was, I deleted all my social media and I blocked them for a minute. And then I want to be by myself. I want to isolate it myself so I can learn myself and learn that, because I was going through a problem that I thought I was the problem. I thought he cheated on me because of me, because I didn't look so good, because of my shape, because of my beauty, because I didn't do enough for him. So I had to take a moment out to learn that it wasn't my fault. It was his. So for me to go with heartbreak, I had to just take it day by day. You're going to go through the different levels of grief, depression. I forgot the other levels, but you have to go through it to understand that this is a lesson that God gave you. So you have to understand that heartbreak is going to be a part of your life. So just take it easy each day by day. Do not fall back in, because you're going to cry. Go ahead and get your box of tissue if you did really love that man. So you can go ahead and prepare to be crying and be sad, trying to text him. But if I were you, just go ahead and block him. You have to just isolate yourself, focus on you, focus on happiness, do something that make you happy, pray to God, ask him what you need to do. If you're lost and need a clue, you need to ask God, like, help me out. I'm going through a situation. I'm not feeling well. I need your help. Can you please help me? And God will give you that desire to help you with your heartbreak.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're going to do this real quickly. I want all of our co-hosts to put your email address inside of the live. And we also want to thank all of those. I saw one of the pastors, thanking God for us for the platform that we're doing on tonight. We thank you as well. I think she had to get off. May have been Victoria, pastor, that was on. Yes, but I did see the comment in the chat. I was trying to read it, but we also thank all of our virtual audience that's also in here being supportive. You may not see their faces, but they're here to be supportive. The next time we come on, we want to have at least 21 virtual audience. We're doing something totally new, out of the box, non-traditional, something has never been done. I had never heard of a virtual audience either until the Lord said it. So they don't have to be participants of what we're doing. They are supporters. That means they're on here, which is going to cause what we're doing to even travel the more. So what I want to do, I want to make sure every one of our co-hosts, and then everybody's put your email address in the chat, in the live, So if anybody ever want to reach out to you, they can. And then what we're going to do, we're going to give our final closing thoughts here as we get ready to, bring part 1 to a close. I don't know what topic we're going to talk about next time, but we'll keep y'all posted. But at the same time, let me just say this as well while they're preparing their final thoughts. Even those that may want to just pray, whatever you feel led to do, I just want to make sure it's a principle that they can take away with. And so I want you to put your email in the on social media. So if you have your social media up, put it into the comments that's out there so that they can actually have it as well. Put your comments in there. But I just want to let those know that the Global Innovators Talk Show is more than just a talk show. It deals with empowerment, entrepreneurship, broadcasting. It has a plethora of components that God is actually bringing out that's really going to be a benefit for this generation. Do we have something for the generation under this? Yes, we do. We have another platform, and we'll be coming out with that one soon. That one's called Swag, Smart, Witty, and Gifted for Greatness. That's below, of course, age 16. That's below that. So we're going to be doing something with them as well. But what we're doing now, we're trying to do something that hasn't been done. So we know that we have all of these different types of shows and things on TV, but is it empowering you? Is it a mind transformation? Is it providing any principles, any application? And so we are doing something where this generation has a voice. We don't have anything where they have a voice, where they can be transparent, they can be real, they can share, the mistakes, but they also can share, what they've done, outside of the mistakes. What did they learn? What did they gain? So they're providing knowledge from experience to all those that's watching. And so not only that, I pray that those that are, that are watching, maybe you feel like, I don't know what to do. Maybe my heart broken or something, or maybe I'm about to lose it. I promise you that you are not going to lose it. They are a representation of what you can go through, but you still can rise. This group right here that you see right here are actually, they have been through various things. So they are speaking from experience. So to let you know that, yes, is it possible? Yes, it is. It's possible if you want it to be possible. So I'm going to allow them to do their closing thoughts. And then after that, I think I don't know if I'm going to pray, or I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll know once they get back to me. So whoever wants to go first, just go forth and we'll keep going around.
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay.
So my last and final thing is that I just want to encourage everybody that was on tonight to find your own personal relationship with Jesus. Once you're, finding your own personal relationship with Jesus, and that you'll find your purpose as a person. And so get to know who you are, get to know what your calling is and your purpose is on this earth, so that you can help other people. And also, once you find your purpose and you find your niche and whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing in life, don't dim your light for anybody. No matter what people say, how people talk about you, be confident in who Jesus made you to be. So that's my last thing for everybody.
Okay, we got to share it, but people. Okay, I got to make the live public. So let me do that right quick. Okay, go ahead and share y'all final thoughts for me.
I'm just gonna jump in there because I gotta get home because my kids and everything. So I'm gonna just jump in there. Thank you, first of all, Dr. Janet Lamar, man. I really, 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 really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. We got a connection just from you being a person, seeing something in me when I didn't see it in myself. I didn't understand who Alex was. It didn't make sense why you allowed me to be the speaker. And I was the youngest person in the room. I didn't get it. But now that I have a connection with God himself, man, I thank you. I thank you even right now tonight, this conversation. Like I just was telling my close friend, the one who I was telling y'all about, because I'm at his house, I was saying, man, we don't have these conversations at church. This is my first time talking about sex, in the midst of other Christians. So we need more of these. And I thank you for, I don't know how the idea, of course I know the idea came from God. I thank you for being obedient and listening to, what he told you to do. And I really thank you for that, because if not, a lot of other people, what they do when God gives them an idea, they like, oh no, we can't be talking about that. And now what they're doing is they're putting their self in front of what God is telling them to do. And now we can't even fix what needs to be fixed. So what you did, you taking yourself all the way out the picture. and you're really allowing God to work in you. So I thank you. I love you, and anything you ever need, give me a call. Same for everybody else on this chat. Thank you so much, sisters. A lot of wisdom, a lot of just insight on the female perspective. I thank y'all. If y'all ever need anything as well, y'all give me a call. I believe in community. I believe in staying strong. And just we a team. So like y'all say, it is hard. It's hard as hell to stay on this road. It's hard. But if we stick together and understand that then we get around like-minded people and understand the road that we're on, we good. So all my information's in the chat. I love y'all as well. And y'all reach out to me if y'all need anything, motivational speaking. If y'all want me to bring, I give kids jobs, man, all type of stuff. So thank y'all so much. I love y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much. Hopefully put your information inside of the social media live too as well.
So go, what is that on Facebook?
Yes, sir. Put it on there.
Okay.
I'll go
do that.
Share and tag. Okay.
Okay, I'll go do that. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Well, I just say, I encourage every young person to just remember that God is a sustainer. He's a keeper if you want to be kept. And even if you have fell into the area of sexual immoralities, and that's a struggle for you, I want to be the first to tell you, you didn't make a big mistake. You didn't make not one mistake that God cannot cover. He said his love covers a multitude of sin. And if God loves covers a multitude of sin, he covers the fact that you fell into that area. So don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel ashamed. Like Victoria said, don't dim your light because you made that mistake. No matter how much people tell you you messed up your life or it's not worth it and all of those things, forget all of that and remember that God is a sustainer. He's a keeper if you really want to be kept. And I can't stress that enough because I know God will keep you, because I know he's done it for me. And I see the power of God, his keeping power, continuing to move and operate in my life. And so I want to encourage you to know that God really do love you. And if you are dating, it's nothing wrong with dating. God made us relational people. He wants us to be in relationship. He wants to see us happy. He wants to see us in love. But if you know it's certain things that you can't, that just will not sit right with you, and it triggers you to fall back into those areas, I just pray that God give you the strength and he give you the ways to be able to overcome that so that you can date in a godly manner. If you know you can't, go out one-on-one, my apostle, shout out to her because she always tell us, if you ain't strong enough, go out in group settings, go do couple dates so that you don't get yourself in and you don't keep falling back into that sin. Use wisdom when you want to date. God will give you the wisdom if you really want to date the way that he designed you to date. Because you can date in a godly manner. It's possible, y'all. I promise you it's possible. I'm doing it now 5 years and I promise you it works, y'all. I promise you it works. You can date in a godly manner. I'm telling you. And so I encourage every young person, whatever you're struggling with when it comes to sex, anything sexual related, I just want to let you know that God is a deliverer. He said, if you make your bed in hell, I'll be there, which means he's there even in those darkest moments, those places that you feel like you can't come out of, those places that you feel like you don't have the strength to get yourself out of. I want to let you know that God is a deliverer. He's a sustainer. He's a keeper. And if you want to be kept, I promise you he will keep you. And if you've already made the mistake, I promise you that mistake is already covered because of his love. And so because of his love, you've already covered. All you got to do is repent and turn from your ways. All you got to do now is turn and make new decisions, walk on a new path. So if you know it's old things that you used to get into, start saying no, start denying yourself and start getting in the word to see how God desires for you to live right now. I encourage every young person. We love y'all. And if y'all ever need anything, I pray this helped y'all. I pray that it gave you insight on godly dating and us being transparent, because that's what we are here for, to be transparent, not to sugarcoat it, because that's what got for so long. We got people sugarcoating what it is when it comes to sex. But one thing about it, we're not gonna sugarcoat anything because we know where God brought us from when it came to that. And so I'll be the first to tell you, if you made the mistake, you are not, God is not condemning you. You are not condemned because you had sex. I promise you. God still loves you. He still will use you. Even in the midst of your sin, God will still use you. Why? Because he have no respect of a person. That don't give you the right to go out and sin and to keep having sex because you know he'll use you. But I want to let you know that God still will use you even in the midst of your sin, because that's the kind of God that we serve. That's the type of love that he gives you as a father. He don't turn his back on you because you made a mistake. And I know a lot of times, the older people, they make sex seem like it's the biggest sin. There's no sin greater than the other. And so just like a person can be out there cursing, you can be having sex. It don't make it no better. They still in sin. You can be out there drinking and smoking and this person having sex. It's all still sin. And so don't ever feel bad because you feel like you messed up so bad, because I promise you, God will cover every mistake that you has made.
Mhm. I don't know who that just entered, but your phone needs to be muted, please.
I'll say they summed it up pretty well, but to piggyback, find you a group of like-minded people. If you seriously want to change certain things about yourself, certain habits, even if it's not sex, but just find you like-minded people. Get an accountability partner, somebody you can call up and say, girl, or my boy, I feel like I want to have sex right now. I'm really trying, hard not to do a thing. Get with somebody so they can remind you of who you are, remind you of your goal. Somebody can just keep your mind renewed, even though we know the truth. But just basically find you somebody. You can't do it off your own strength, like Messyah said. With the help of God and with the help of God-like company, you can do it. And like she said, we are here and available. I am a person that thrives off of transparency. I'll tell you my business. I don't care, because I believe in deliverance, and deliverance can only happen with truth. You cannot be delivered from a facade. So just stay lifted, stay with a good group of people, and reach out if you need us. That's all I got.
And to add from what they were saying, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He's near to those who are crushed in spirit. And many times when we find ourselves in these places, it leaves us scarred and it leaves us damaged. But you're never too far gone. And it's never too ugly for God not to meet you exactly where you are. And sometimes things are only broken through fasting and praying. So sometimes you got to go to a place where you fast and you pray so those things can be broken off of your life. I just want to encourage the listeners to stay before God, stay before his presence. The love of God will break up those things. It will break up those fallow grounds. And there's no love like a fatherly love from him. That's all I want to say.
Awesome.
Yes, and to piggyback off of what Danielle stated, one thing that I would say that I really had to take heed on was to focus on self, to really sit and take the time to analyze who you are as an individual. Make a good and a bad portion, things that you want to correct within yourself and things that you know are good within yourself and how you can improve them to be great, and things that you know are bad and how you can improve them to be better. Take those things.
Oh, I think she hit it accident. She may jump back on. Who wants to go while I'm sure she's gonna log back in. There she go. Okay, I don't think that's her. Okay, who wants to do their closing remarks while we're waiting to see if she's gonna log back in?
What I was going to say to the young people just like me, do not give up. Just because you was church hurt doesn't mean that you give up on God, because God haven't gave up on you. I seen this post yesterday. It was like, you can go to the McDonald's line, how many times they mess up your food and your ice cream, but you don't want to go back to the church because you was church hurt. So if you in that predicament, I think you should just have a relationship with God first, then find you a church. And then if you think you're not at a level of respect and you think people don't find you beauty, just know that you're the apple of God's eye. And that all that matters to God, because you don't need to worry about who thinks you or not, because God really have all your attention and he really cares about you. So don't in anything in your life or just think that you're nothing, because the world don't satisfy you. Do not follow the ways of the world, but follow the ways of God, and that will truly help you. And I also want to say that young people, if you are alone, like the our group said, find people to connect with. It is good, godly friends out there. You just have to find them. And I have learned that you have to find people just like you. Do not give up on relationships, and don't just guard your heart, like Apostle said. Guard your heart, but you can also be in a relationship, because relationship is a fun thing to do. But just make sure, let that person know ahead of time, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you know right now. I'm not doing this. I'm letting you know now. I don't want to waste your time. I'm just going to tell you like it is. I'm just going to keep it real. So doing that can save your time as being young. And being young, also know that you're young. Go on vacations.
That's right.
You're young. Go down the road. Go have fun. You're at a young age. Go have so much fun. But not sin having fun. You can have fun and go vacation without sinning. You ain't gotta drink to have fun. You don't have to have sex having fun. You don't have to do all the other stuff to have fun. You can have fun and be very young and have a relationship with God, because that's what God wants you to do. If you have any concerns or any question for us, you could just contact us, because we are just like y'all. We went through the same situation y'all through, even worse. So if y'all have any questions for us, we'll be right here for you.
I think you're back on.
Yes, I'm sorry, y'all. My laptop died, but
okay.
Like I was stating earlier, the biggest thing that I would say, that I know for me, is just focusing on self and understanding who you are as a person. Once you understand who you are as a person and present those things, and you finally come to your truth, your good and your bad truth, and you can present those things to God and say, hey, these are things that I want to work on. He's going to put you in certain positions that he will force you to work on them. And they might not be the ideal situations, like you ask him for patience and you think he's going to grant you patience in that moment, or you ask him for self-discipline and you think it's just going to up and come. No, he's going to put you in positions that you have to express that self-discipline for yourself. So one thing that I would encourage you to do is just understanding who you are as a person. Once you get to know who you are as a person, and you've come to that truth of saying, hey, I know sexual sin is something that I struggle with. Hey, I know masturbation is something that I struggle with. Hey, I know watching pornography excessively is something that I deal with. Although it doesn't sound good to the public, I know I have to acknowledge who I am as a person in order to come past what I'm dealing with in this present moment. Once you come to your truth and you're finally able to analyze that, and you fully give it to God and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get past this, but I know you to be the King of Kings, the healer of all, and you're going to carry me into my next situation. And once you present that to him, it doesn't matter what the circumstances is. When you give God full control and full authority over all your life, and you come to terms with yourself, everything will fall into place as how it should. And that's all I had to say. Awesome.
Has everyone of the team had opportunity to say anything? Closing remarks? Okay. All right. Well, we have come to, I'm not going to say the end. We just come to the end of this particular part one. Everything has already been stated as far as, principles and application, because God wanted you to hear this from the perspective of our young generation. And so you can relate to them. So you won't think that, oh, they just old fashioned, they're just saying this. So now you have people that have experience that are in your age bracket. Not only have they been crushed and humiliated or had bad experiences, and then maybe some they loved and they liked or whatever, vice versa. But now you're hearing from them that the topic that we said, that's all you got, sex. So that means it's something else greater than just giving up my body. So we had both male and female on here tonight. So again, I'm excited. I don't have my closing remarks was exactly what they just stated. I just want to make sure that you stay connected to us. If you're a young person, if you're sitting out there and you're watching, and maybe you are just in a moment where you your heart is crushed. You don't know exactly what you need to do. Maybe you feel like there is no one you can relate to, or you can actually be transparent with, because you think they're going to judge you. You heard from each and every one of us. We were very transparent. We didn't hide anything, from masturbation to different partners, everything that we can think that we can do, we did it. So we was very transparent with you on tonight. So the reason why I'm saying that, we put our email information inside of the this live on tonight. And can someone put the office line in there for me, 706-980-7901. If you have a desire and you want to connect with what we're doing, not just talk show, but we're going to transform the globe. We have different things that we're going to do. We're going to be talking with their leaders. We're going to be talking with those who have parents who are a certain age. We want to make sure we do things in decency and order. But if you're out there and you're saying, I would really love to connect with this group, I really would love to have mentorship or something of that nature, we want you to first, if you're underage, your parent need to be the one to call. Also need to talk to your leader, because we want to make sure it's okay. Again, this is not church. This is a movement across the globe to empower and transform young people and to give them a voice, but also help them in the area of broadcasting and entrepreneurship. Not only just, we want to help them work for themselves. We want to help they are witty inventors. They got ideas. They got things that need to come to pass. It's time to manifest. So we are here to provide that platform. And so again, if you're watching and you're saying, man, I sure would love to connect to them, make sure you reach out. The number again is 706-980-7901. If you are a minor, you make sure your parent and you have to make an appointment. And if you're an adult, of course you can yourself. We want to make sure we do things in the right order. So again, we are excited about what God is doing. Again, this is God's vision. We are just partakers to help carry it out, because all I can hear is this: the time is at hand. It's long overdue. So we may not be BET, but we be, what I want to say, with the global innovators. So you can't get no better than that. All right. So again, we are excited that you joined in with us. We want to make sure you go share and tag and tell somebody to make sure they watch what we've talked about on tonight. Not only that, they can continue to comment. If you would do this for me, because I know it's going to be so many comments, I know that I may not have opportunity to go in there and check everything. But again, if you want to connect, could you all please put your email addresses again inside of the streaming Facebook page for me? Put your information there. They have their own email addresses. You can email them. You can reach out to them as well as myself again. But again, we thank you for tuning in and watching, patiently with us. We thank all of our virtual audience that had logged on. Some were pastors. We had one prophet and some others. They put their comments in the chat and they was excited. They, kind of was excited that we kind of open up even on the masturbation, just a lot of things they talked about. Thank you for the platform that God has provided. They really just gave their shouts out. So we want to thank all of those that were on our virtual audience. And also we want to give a shout out again to all of our pastors that have allowed all of these young people to be a part. So if you, again, just go ahead and shout out to your leaders. That's right. We want to make sure we call it the name. We have Apostle Robert E. Knight, Kingdom Shift, Apostolic Ministry. We have Apostle Brenda Howard, Tabernacle.
The biggest one.
Yes, come on. That's their leader as well. We have Bishop McCullough out of St. Galilee, Hancock County. And so we are so excited. Aamiya, I think she may have had to jump off, but again, she's a part of Kingdom Shift Apostolic Ministry. So we just thank God, because if it were not for them allowing these young people to be a part, God saw it, but we still have to do things in order. So I want to say from my heart, I thank God for each and every one of them. I thank God for allowing you all to be on here, to be transparent, but not only that, covering all of us in prayer. And so this is, as they say, this is the best is yet to come. You ain't seen nothing yet, because we already discussed some. That's right, part 2. So tonight we're going to say deuces to you. All right, good night, everybody. Love you guys. Awesome job.
Good night.
Later.
Good
night.
Make sure you share and tag. All right, good night.
Good night, everybody.